Hey, it's me, Bert. And today on this episode of
No Skill Customs,
we're going to go over all the Ewoks that have modern action figures, other than the ones I covered in part 1. This is part 2, of course. So let's not waste any time. We're going to get started right away. Starting things off, we have Noaepac. And this guy, no one really knows where Hasbro got the idea for this guy. I've seen it on the internet suggested that this character right here is Noaepac. Could be. I kind of feel like maybe they were just making him up. For the card back art, they clearly just used Lumot and changed its colors. And this guy was available in the Legacy Collection, Build-A-Droid number 18 with Pop Blue. So if let's say you're like, well, I'm not going to get that Legacy Collection one because I like the Vintage Collection Pop Blue that they're coming out with in 2021, just later this year. You might still want to go back and get that Legacy one because that's the only way to get Noaepac. Next up is Leektar. Another really awesome one. Leektar, he can be seen on the drums with Tebow at the end of the movie. He can be seen again when Leia kind of comes out of that one hut. Okay, he was available in the Legacy Collection, his Legacy Collection number 4, or Build-A-Droid number 4, you can call him. And of course, you can't talk about Leektar without talking about Nippet, the little baby Ewok, because Leektar came with him. Okay, not that Leektar and Nippet have any association whatsoever in the movie, but they came together. And hey, if that's how I got to get a baby Ewok, a little Wokling, I'll take it. Okay, if you want more Woklings though, because really one's not enough. This is my suggestion. I have not actually done this yet, but I own this eraser of Woklings, and I'm thinking if I paint it real nice and spiffy, I think it could look like a whole bunch of little Woklings. Like, look at how perfectly scaled they are. The detail's not as great, I'll admit, but I think with some good painting, you could make this look pretty sweet. So that is my plan, so I can have a variety of Woklings. Then we have Stemsy. He was in the Vintage Collection. Don't look for him on a card back. He was in the Vintage Collection Kmart Ewok Assault Catapult set. He's actually the dude in front carrying C-3PO. He's got a lot of moments in this movie. Okay, now in that photo that I was talking about, there's an Ewok that could also be Stemsy, could be the exact same Ewok, or maybe it's someone that dresses almost identically. Maybe they're twins. And they call him Greemon. Now, that's up to you. If you guys want to decide these two guys are different characters, that's fine. I've never seen two that look like this at the same time. So it kind of tells me there's like a Clark Kent Superman thing going on. I don't know who would be what, Stemsy or Greemon, but anyways, moving right along. Stemsy came with Chubray. Now, you want to talk about an Ewok that for some reason I never noticed as a kid, but he's all over the place in this movie. And Chubray's got the white marks on his face, and he can be seen avoiding explosions. He can be seen when the Ewoks, first show up. For the most part, his figure looks great, but what they missed was he's got like these flaps that go over his ears, and they didn't really put those on the figure. After that, we have Nanta. Now, Nanta is the one that unfortunately meets his demise at the hands of the Empire. Do you remember when Ramba's crying, and you are too, whenever you watch Return of the Jedi? I mean, like, who doesn't cry through that? It's okay, guys, you can admit it. Okay, he was part of the Toys R Us pack. Okay, not really the most accurate figure of all time. Okay, the stripes should really be a bit more pronounced, but that's why I customize stuff. Next up is Wunka. All right, and he was also available in the Vintage Collection. He was available as an Ewok in the Ewok Scout 2-pack with Widdle Warwick. Well, let's talk about Wunka and Widdle, because they've actually already sort of been made already in the 30th Anniversary Collection Ultimate Battle Pack that was featured at Target. One's labeled Wicket for some reason, and the other one is labeled Uchi. And I think in each of these cases, these pairs of Ewoks are supposed to represent the same Ewoks, the ones that joined Chewbacca in the AT-ST. Now, funny thing, I've never noticed this until I was making this video, but the two Ewoks that follow Chewbacca, as if they're going to go and jump into the AT-ST, I think even the ones that are hanging onto his legs as he's swinging and doing the Tarzan scene, Different than the Ewoks, they actually show up in the ATST. It was told to me in my previous video in the comments section by Kasuki1 that part of the reason for all these Ewok discrepancies is the fact that the outdoor shots were filmed in California in the Redwoods, and then soundstage shots were shot in London. So a lot of Ewok parts just didn't match up, or they didn't care to match them up very precisely. In this situation, I think maybe they shot the outdoor shots first, and then when they were looking at those particular Ewoks, maybe they decided to find a couple Ewoks that had more expressive faces, because the Widdle and Wunka that you see inside the ATST look to be a little more like they're laughing and having a good time. Our Widdle and Wonka controversies don't end there, because a different Ewok was also labeled by different sources as being Widdle. And the difference between the Widdle that we see inside the ATST and outside during Return of the Jedi is that he has kind of like an all-orange body and a more upturned, smiley face and a brown nose. This other Widdle that's been used by Topps and in the Star Wars Insider magazine actually has a pink nose, a downturned mouth, and a lighter belly than the rest of them. And I think it's actually just a distinctly different Ewok. Even on, if you look at their head scarves, the Widdle that's seen in the movie has a dark brown tie. This one has a lighter beige tie. Next up, as a kid, one of my favorite Ewoks, Flitchy. Okay, not that I had his toy when I was a kid, just watching the movie. He's the guy who jumps up with the Stormtrooper blaster. Just love this character. Flitchy was available as part of that big 5-pack of figures. Really, really amazing 5-pack. If you don't have it, you should definitely look into it. Next is Grack. He looks a lot like Nanta, but he's a bit different. Nanta has a darker nose, and he's got a pinker nose. He came in the 30th anniversary number 43 set with Ramba, so it was a 2-pack. So it was a great deal. But looking back at them, as much as I loved them back then, they're not very accurate to the Ewoks that they're supposed to be representing. Grack can be seen kind of like in charge, telling the bow and arrow Ewoks when to shoot. Next is the Ewok comic pack. In this comic pack, you got Keel, Keech, Ketch, and Machuk. I mean, they have, they're modern sculpts. They're repaints of other existing figures with, a couple little minor changes so that they can wear Stormtrooper helmets. They got a little smaller, squished ears. Keel Keech is this orange dude with the pink. Now, you might think that's kind of not right for an Ewok, but if you imagine this guy with a brown wash, just paint some brown and kind of wipe it off a little bit, I think he'd be perfect for this Ewok right here, who a lot of people call Ramba. He's not Ramba, but this, talk about an Ewok that deserves a figure, though, is this guy. So I kind of use Keel Keech as this guy, even though, I guess the orangey fur is not so far off, but the pink is just so vivid and bright. You could just tone it down. But, they were trying to go for that look from the comics, so you can give them a break, I guess. All right. And then here's Ketch and Machuk. I don't really know that any particular Ewoks match them, but they look a little bit more like they fit with the natural colors of the Ewok. The orange on the one guy is a little bit much on Ketch here, but again, yeah, just put a brown wash over that. He doesn't look so bad. Also, from the comics, okay, but not that particular pack, is Tipid. And Tipid was in that Ewok 5-pack, but he's also in the Battle on Endor 8-pack, which I don't have, and I didn't realize they actually changed these guys up. Flitchy, same deal. He was in both of those packs as well. And they're each minorly changed from the Ewok 5-pack that was at Toys R Us to the Battle on Endor 8-pack that was at Toys R Us later on. So, yeah, and he's based directly on this character from the comics, but he comes with an alternate hood so that he can look more like just, some generic Ewok that's in the background. Another Ewok from the cartoon has got a figure here, and she was in that Ewok 5-pack, and that is Nisa. And I love this Nisa figure. I think she looks cool with the pink hood. That's, her cartoon accurate one. And this beige hood just kind of looks neat. But check out what I tried. There's this other Ewok that you might have noticed dancing and doing cartwheels at the Ewok celebration. And that Ewok's name is Nikki. But check this out. If you go and take Tipid's extra hood and put it on Nisa, I don't know. I think it kind of looks like Nikki. I can't make a video and not put a no-scale custom in there. That's a no-scale custom. You just swap some hoods around. Next we have Kaink. Kaink was available in the Star Tours Boarding Party 5-pack, and she played a big part in the Ewok movie Caravan of Courage as a priestess who helped out the main characters. But you'll notice that the action figure doesn't really represent the Caravan of Courage version of Kaink, because she wears, as a priestess, she wears like this whole cloak thing. It actually is Kaink as she is seen in the Star Tours boarding video. Hence, that's why she comes in the Star Tours boarding pack. So in that boarding video, she's only wearing the hat and hood thing. And that wraps up all the modern Ewok action figures that came out after 2006. But I'm actually going to talk about two others that came out before 2006 because they're somewhat accurate despite their limited articulation. One is this Ewok from the Complete Galaxy Power of the Force 2 set. And he's a hang glider Ewok, and you're going to notice the other one is a hang glider Ewok as well. And I don't know, I just kind of like the way he looks. He is based on the old Power of the Force 2 Wicked sculpt, so it makes him a little bit antiquated looking. And then there's this other Ewok, also no name for him, and he came out in a Saga Collection pack. And he was Ewok with Attack Glider. And same thing, he's fairly accurate to the movie. Each of these guys, I think when they designed these, they were really looking at the movie stills to kind of figure out what they should look like. Both of them are maybe a little bit big for your typical Ewok, but you know, if they're hanging up in the air, you don't see them against the other Ewoks, you don't even notice. I hope you can tune in again next week for part 3 of my Ewoks video series here. Part 3 is going to focus on Ewoks that don't have action figures. Part 1, we focused on the modern updates of the original 8 Ewoks from the old Kenner days. And of course, in this video, we covered all the Ewoks, all the rest of the Ewoks that have action figures, whether they were in Return of the Jedi or not. And our next video, we're just going to cover Ewoks that are in Return of the Jedi that haven't had action figures and deserve them for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they have several on-screen moments. Maybe it's because they have been named by official sources. Those are the Ewoks we'll be talking about next week. I'll see you there. Like and subscribe so you know when that video comes out.